3, 2, 1.
So we are calling this month's meeting of the Akron Civil Rights Commission to order. We have an agenda that was publicly noticed. This meeting takes the place of the meeting that was on the usual first Tuesday of the month, which was Election Day this year. And so we rescheduled it for today, the 17th. Let's see, John, I was going to wonder, on the agenda, we have consideration of suspension of our rules for online meeting and voting and attendance. Did we change our rules? Am I thinking of the ballot initiative or am I just?
Well, yeah, you did. Actually, you're correct. There was a charter amendment that recently passed that did address the issue of being able to do Zoom meetings and that type of thing by public bodies. So, yeah, I mean, in the future, the election hasn't yet been certified. So I think for the time being, it's probably a good idea to just make this motion. But in the future, you may not need to. Or what we may do is maybe revisit your rules and change them so that you wouldn't have to keep making this motion. This was really supposed to be a temporary motion until we got back to live business, but we didn't know this would last so long.
Who knew? Who knows and who knew?
Yeah, so I think as we go forward, we can deal with that. Either the charter change will have taken care of that, or we can, or do both, possibly amend your rules.
Right. I was just looking at that and it occurred to me. So we will entertain a motion to suspend our rules regarding in-person attendance, voting, and public comment. Is there such a motion?
So moved. Nancy Holland.
Second, Gina King.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 I see the ayes have it. We do not have our secretary here. Commissioner Mobley is not present. Does somebody want to? I see someone raising her hand already.
Already taking notes.
Already taking notes. Thank you so much.
Go ahead. We started at 4:40, Esther.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you. And I do not think that we got October minutes. Is that accurate? John, did we?
I do not recall seeing October minutes.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. And Esther, just let me, if I could just say one thing.
Sure.
When you take the minutes for this meeting, make sure they'll go to Elaine Stoberman, who is the executive assistant for the law department.
Okay.
You may have her email on some
I
past
do.
emails. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason that's so important is because she uses the attendance records to make sure the checks get distributed.
Yes.
So agenda item number 2 was approval of the minutes. We will hold that off until next month. We have old business. We have reports on 2 investigations that had been assigned to Commissioner Pitt and Commissioner Mobley. I have not heard from either of them about any update on either of those complaints. I know that Commissioner Mobley at one point was going to, I think, be in contact with Phil Young. Is that? And I see he's here. I don't know if Phil, if there's anything to report with regard to that complaint that came in this year. Don't know if you're actually there because.
Are you there, Phil?
Not now. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I get this mixed up. I think I'm unmuted and I'm muted when
Yes.
I'm not.
Right.
Is that number 3 and 4?
Yes.
No, there's nothing more to add on it. I've talked to the complainant a couple of times, but all she did was add a name, and I passed that on to Mrs. Mobley.
So that investigation presumably is ongoing. John, you haven't heard anything from either of them?
No, I have not. I have not.
So, all right, I will touch base with them before the next meeting to see where we. I'm under the impression, I don't think that I saw any new complaints come in. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
All right, we are plowing through. That was agenda item number 4. This could be very short. We have our agenda items 5 and 6 are kind of standing items for us if we are developing any kind of educational or community involvement projects, which we have had in the past. I will report that Ellen put us in contact with I forget the name of it, the Mayor's Commission on, I think it's social justice and racial equity. And Bishop Johnson. We are going to stay in touch. I think that the resolution of that was that there was not, until there was something to report, or there was not going to be a sort of a formal presentation of it, of either group to the other. You know, I had been, I kind of want to check in to see if anybody else is already involved with that group. I am assigned to one of the subcommittees. And so I had thought that I would be a liaison. I don't know how often those meetings are happening, but if judging on my email notices, that there have not been very many meetings, and they got scheduled on a night when I teach. So the one meeting that I know that has happened, I did not attend. Is there anybody else that's involved in any way in any of the subcommittees that has a connection? And just kind of checking in to see what our I'm seeing head shaking, so I'm thinking not. All right.
No.
You know, my teaching schedule changes, so in a minute that's going to be irrelevant in any further meetings I'll be able to attend. If I'm actually in the loop, it's not totally clear to me that emails are actually being sent, or whether or not there's activity on those subcommittees. So not that much to report, right? I do think it's something to keep an eye on. That is a group that is going to make recommendations. That's supposed to be the city's response to all of the summer's events. We'd like to help that be a good response if that's possible. But you know, we don't have a formal role in it or anything. And when we had reached out, the communication has not been all that. I mean, it's been fine, but there hasn't been a lot of it. Any other thoughts or comments on that, or any other sort of engagement efforts?
Just the whole sphere of engagement is challenging right now. You know, I was more than willing, and so was Nanette, as far as, you know, attending some council member community meetings, and of course, all that's suspended. Excuse me. So unless we, I don't know, plan to do like maybe it's somewhere in the future, not, I don't know when, but I'm just throwing it out. Maybe we could do a little invitational to people if they want to, you know, find out more about the Akron Civil Rights Commission, and, you know, just either go through the slides. It could be a 20-minute, it could be about a 20-minute session, just as a community service. It's kind of like run like a community service announcement, but it's here, you know, on Zoom. I'm thinking, John, it could be like how I always get the notices from the city for the different committee meetings, you know, I mean, the different, you know, the zoning commission and the parks and all that. So maybe just as sort of a PSA, we could develop something and present it. It could be recorded and we could run it once a month or something, just to have some exposure to the public. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
That might be something that Ellen would be able to put on the website, the city's website, under the commission's various notices and resources, so that, yeah, interested members of the public could click on that, watch a video.
That's a great idea.
So, yeah, I think it's a great idea too.
Ellen,
Yeah.
I think she will be at the next meeting. She let me know right ahead of this one that she was having some childcare problems. So I think she was planning to attend. I expect you'll see her in December.
Gina Kay, you shared that PowerPoint with us early on, and I think that I don't think that all of our present commissioners were on the commission at the time, and I don't remember if there was. My recollection, it was not so much a script as it's just the sort of the PowerPoint itself. And so I don't know if what you have in mind is basically making that presentation. But if so, maybe you could recirculate that.
We're going to reach everybody. I think I sent it out because we were going to tweak it as a group. I just kind of put it together as a straw dog.
Mhm.
And then when Nanette presented it, she did her own tweak to it. And then we had decided, once the new commissioners came on, that we would make it uniform, period, with it, including everyone's tweaks. So that we have something that even the scripting, so that it's always consistent. The only variables are, you have some input on some of those, a little in-depth input if you were to do it, and you could certainly pause at that point on that slide. I have my own experience from Ohio Civil Rights Commission to kind of give some practical examples of the cases that I heard. So there would be that chance to quote unquote personalize it just as we talk through it. And I'm sure Esther and Nancy, if you've had those experiences, you would add some different things from an employment standpoint as well. So not if I can find it, when I find it, I will forward it to John. And then John, if you would just push it back out, because the city was supposed to look at it. I think Ellen was going to look at it, and somebody from the city was going to look at it just to make sure it was sound. And then it could just, again, we could record it with a script and, just have it narrated, and let's let it play for, 7, 8 minutes or whatever, if we wanted to use it as a recorded PSA. And then at some point in the future, we could do it. But I just think if we recorded it, then we could just kind of go through it, let people, people's attention span is that of a gnat. So probably no more than about 7 minutes, and then just let the public click on it. And then we don't have to do anything, but we would know that whatever script and whoever the person is who's speaking, would have it all polished and ready to deliver and narrate each slide, and just, who knows how many people. John, would we be able to track how many people clicked on it?
That I don't know. I don't know if we have that capability on the city's website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just thinking out loud here. So, jump in, but I'll find it, John. I'll find it. It's kind of in its
Okay.
in its infant form, and I'll send it. And then the city law department can look over it, make sure that it says everything it should or should not say. And then let's have everybody kind of opine, and let's, if we can, launch it up on the city's site under our tab.
I think it sounds like a great project. Yeah, it can be as much as we want or as little, right, as you want it to be. I was having flashes of an image of, each of us narrating a minute and a half, so, and it would just sort of cycle through and give people a sense of not just what the commission is, but who the commissioners are, right? Which might be a nice.
That'd be a nice touch, because they don't know us either. So yeah, and we haven't taken a group photo in a while. So I haven't aged, maybe some of you have, but so they could use my same photo from like 4 years ago.
We
But
could
yeah,
post our screenshot of the Zoom Zoom meeting.
yeah, but yeah, that would personalize it and give them, you know, a sense of who we are. That would be a great idea. Have us narrate a piece.
So you'll circulate that and we'll chat about it next month. And this is just my regular, I know that I've mentioned this before, that this possible educational component is a piece of our mandate that can be as much as we want it to be, right? And I have suggested before that if we wanted to have hearings, issue reports, you know, in my view, we could do it until someone says not to, and maybe even then. But you know, but it takes initiative, right? So I feel I have not sort of moved the ball forward on any particular projects, but I sort of occasionally like to announce this in case somebody feels like, oh, you know what, I'd really like to organize a hearing about, you know, gun violence on the west side of Akron or something. I think that that's within our purview to do, and and it is a gap in the city that we could fill. But as always, it takes time and resources. The resources are not probably going to be easily available from the city. Although, you know, we have been around the block a couple of times on whether, you know, we might ask for that at some point. So just a general reminder that things are possible with this group if you are so inclined. Right. Nancy, are you
Yeah, actually,
in? Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something I've been thinking about. I feel like we have a really ripe moment to maybe do something with area high schools. And it might simply be a repurposing or repackaging of the PowerPoint presentation that Gina Kay and Nanette have worked on. But I know that a lot of schools are probably looking for good homeschool content. An option might be to offer something maybe around MLK Day. Perhaps it's an open invitation to come onto a Zoom conference, and we could do, you know, a brief but meaty presentation as a group about what we do and why we, you know, why these laws are important. Just something to think about. And I don't think it has to be, I don't think we have to create this as though it's the last time we'll ever do it. I think we could do something in the order of a 45-minute chunk of content and offer it to area high school civics teachers, maybe.
Yeah, in fact, we might ask if you know any teachers, right, or a school administrator, we might ask what's the best, you know, way to present that, or what's the best time frame. I don't know what the period lengths are these days, right?
No, I could reach out
yeah.
to Judy Harrison, who's the longtime IB coordinator
yeah.
at Firestone, and see what she might, you know, suggest. But
Okay.
I think it would be a great team building exercise for the commission and the commissioners. I think it's something that we could enjoy working on together, and a real public service. And I really feel that the stuff that we're interested in and our jurisdictional topics, if you will, you can't start early enough talking about this. And arguably high school is way too late.
Right.
But I think it's our logical audience right now as parents and teachers struggle to keep high school kids engaged.
That's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea, Nancy.
So if you want to report back on that, I could drop a note to Lisa Mansfield. If that, you know, I'm thinking that there might be a curriculum coordinator at the district level who might also have a different kind of input. So I'll check that out, and we can.
Okay.
You could also float it to Carla Chapman And because she's very much involved with us, with helping out with what's called JLA, which is Junior Leadership Akron.
Oh.
So, and she helps out a lot on on those days when they do their programming. So she would also be an avenue to tell us where that might fit as far as curriculum. And getting that infused. And I agree, Nancy, high school's probably too late. If we look at the demographics of some of the people out in the streets who were marching, and I'll say marching probably to the wrong tune, it's clear that those young people have already been infused by what they've heard at home, to, to whatever extent, good, bad, whatever persuasion. So, but at whatever point we could connect with them, it's an opportunity. And it might be a real unique opportunity that we're to do something like that in this community. So like, I think that's cool. That would kind of put us on the map.
I think it would. I think it would really fill a need, and I think it's not a bad way to spend our new curfewed time at home. Can you call Carla Chapman, Gina K? Great. Maybe the three of us can huddle then before our next compare
Great.
notes.
Okay.
Super. Something to look forward to.
Any other thoughts on community education or other projects? Right, John, did we receive any public comments to read?
I failed to check with my office today. And by the time I realized I failed to do so, it was after 4:30, so I was too late. I guess the good news is that we have another meeting in 2 weeks, so I'll be able to update for that.
So
I apologize.
That's all right. As far as we know, there are no public comments. And if there have been any, we will catch up with them at the next meeting. Anything else for the good of the order? Otherwise, we are adjourned. Oh, should I have a motion? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. John, will you stay on for a minute? I have a question for you.
Sure.
Bye.